Alright, man, let's just talk about it. The whole Bellator and PFL crew crossing over lately, a lot of them have flat out crapped the bed. Let's just say how it is. There's no secret there. The hype comes in heavy. The fans get told, hey, this guy's a killer from this other promotion. And then when the lights hit, let's just be honest, it's a letdown, okay? I mean, take Aaron Pico for an example. Ton of hype, big push, all the talk about how he's the next big thing. And to his credit, he looked good in that first round. He looked really sharp, looked extremely dangerous, but the moment he got tested, boom, he got finished. And that's the kind of story we got here. Look, good in spurts, but can't carry it when it counts. That's always been Aaron Pico's problem. And it's not just Pico. We've seen a string of these high-credential fighters from Bellator and PFL come in and flop. I mean, for an example, like Patchy Mix. Bro, Patchy was talking mad crap before his debut, hyping himself up. And, you know, it would have worked if he won, but he went out there against Mario Batista, a legit ranked guy, by the way, and completely freeze. The dude looked like his controller disconnected mid-fight. Just stood there like Elsa from Frozen, okay? Shout out to the dog. Not pulling the trigger, and that right there is what really started to damage the rep of these Bellator slash PFL imports. Let's just say how it is. Then, of course, you got Pitbull, and look, I actually respect Pitbull. I think he was actually pretty good. But let's keep it a buck. He's not the same guy anymore. He's older. He's past his prime. And when he finally got that big fight with Yair, the fight was boring as hell. Yeah, he rebounded with a solid win against Dan Ige. Good for him, man. That at least showed that he can hang around the top 15, top 10. But the days of him being a true killer, I actually think those days are behind him now. And that's my issue with the whole thing. These guys show up with name value, with a lot of hype, and immediately they get thrown into huge opportunity. And I'm talking about top 10 guys, ranked opponents, killers right out of the gate. And more often than not, they crap the bed. Now, sure, there are exceptions like Michael Chandler came in and delivered, MVP had his moments too, but for every Chandler, there's always 2 or 3 guys who just completely fold. So that brings me to today because there are 2 names we need to talk about. We need to talk about Patchy Pitbull and Patchy Mix. Both are booked. Both have semi-tough matchups coming up, I would say. And both feel like a gamble in my opinion because Pitbull is matched up with Lozin Keita, a double champ out of Octagon MMA. And I'm not going to lie, bro. This might not be an easy fight for him at all, especially for a guy with Pitbull's mileage. And then you've got Patchy Mix, who's fighting Jacob Whiplash. Now, Mix absolutely has the grappling chops, but after the last performance, where he just stood there like a statue, the pressure's on him big time. If he doesn't adjust, if he doesn't shoot cleaner takedowns, and he doesn't pull the trigger, it can get really ugly. All right? And I'm not going to beat around the bush, okay? I'll be blunt. These guys are basically fighting for their jobs at this point. Mostly Mix, if we're being honest. But man, he's definitely fighting for his job. If he goes out there and craps the bed again, dude, there's just no way the UFC is going to keep him around. 2 frozen performances back to back? Nah, there's no way. That's not building a future contender. That's updating your resume on Indeed, okay? So he's up against Jacob Whiplash, right? Now, from what I've seen, this guy is mostly a grappler. Nothing too flashy or crazy on the feet. He hangs out in southpaw most of the time. He throws a jab and low kick occasionally, you know, and sometimes he throws straights just to keep it simple. Honestly, when you watch him, it's like watching a copy-paste version of Patchy Mix. The difference is defensively, I would say Whiplash is a little tighter. He keeps that higher guard, moves fairly well. He doesn't leave himself wide open. He's not slick like Dominic Cruz or anything like that, but he's not eating clean shots either. That being said, I am worried for Patchy because let's be real, man. His stand-up is basically non-existent, okay? If you're trying to convince me that the dude's striking is secretly good, you're lying to yourself, okay? You're lying to my face, and you're lying to yourself. The only time Patchy's hands looked dangerous was when he was holding Mario Batista's fight check, okay? And I don't want to buy into this narrative, oh, Patchy froze because he was scared. Bro, if you're a professional fighter, yeah, I get it. The bright lights of the UFC can rattle you. I've heard that countless times. But by round 2, you got to shake it off. You know, you got to do a little shake and duck. And shake it off and do something. Adjust. Move. Push the pace. Especially if you're an experienced guy like Patchy Mix. Instead, he just stood there like he forgot to put in the batteries in his control or something, all right? Now, Patchy's bread and butter has always been the grappling. He's supposed to be that guy that, you know, he's an elite back taker. Submission threat. Submissions on the mat. Well, this is his chance to prove it because Whiplash is coming off from KSW, not even a UFC regular. He's making his UFC debut. If Patchy cannot beat this guy, then what are we even doing here? All he needs to do is walk in there, eat a couple jabs and leg kicks, and drag this man into the grappling, okay? Get the clinch, take the back, and do what he does best. The thing is, though, Whiplash doesn't hit that hard, and yeah, he moves well, but not like Mario Batista. This should be a matchup where Patchy shines. It should be, okay? But I've lost a lot of faith in him, dude. Honestly, I can actually see him losing this one too, which would be hilarious in a dark way. But if I had to pick, man, I guess I'll go with Patchy Mix by decision. See, I can't even get this guy a fucking first or second round submission finish, man. And it's not confidence, man. I don't have confidence on the guy. But, you know, he made a name of beating these taxi drivers, so I like to think he can beat this guy. So let's give him this chance, man. Let's see if he proves it, you know. With that being said, we're moving on with Pitbull versus Lozine Keita. And I gotta say this real quick, man. Pitbull has really crapped the bed too. You know, really bad. Yeah, sure, that fight with Yair was rough. That was a boring, man. It looked like an amateur sparring session, okay? I don't even know what to call it. It just didn't feel like the Pitbull we all know. But besides that, he came back, he fought Dan Ige, and actually picked up a solid win. And I gotta give him credit where credit is due, okay? It wasn't the most exciting fight in the world. It wasn't something people are replaying on Twitter 100 times, you know? But he looked good enough to get his hand raised. And that matters because Dan Ige isn't some free W. He's been in there with killers. He's given Diego Lopez a tough fight. He almost finished Lerone Murphy. So yeah, Pitbull beating him means something. The UFC looked at this performance and basically went, okay, this guy is at least an investment we can use again. He's not washed. He's not done. Let's book him one more time. Now, across from him is Lerone Keita. And man, let me tell you something about this guy. This guy is coming in with real hype. He's a double champ from Octagon MMA. Yeah, I never heard of it either. And when I looked at the tape, though, I can see why the UFC is pulling the trigger on signing him. He's explosive, he's got that strong Muay Thai background, extremely athletic, and he's got that highlight reel that makes you go, damn, that kid is a problem. You know, but I don't know if he's a problem, but he looks like a problem. You watch him in those fights, you can instantly see why the UFC went, okay, let's test him right away. Against a name like Pitbull. They didn't give him a tune-up fight. They didn't ease him in. They just threw him into the fire. But here's the thing, man. When it comes to Keita's ground game, there's not much to go off. That's where the unknown comes in. And honestly, that's kind of scary because you've got Pitbull on the other side, a guy with legit BJJ, dangerous, you know, background. You know, he has guillotines and he has the ability to take the fight to the ground. For all we know, Keita might not be the best submission defense, and Pitbull is exactly the guy to test it. And I mean, we just saw Pitbull take Dan Ige down in his last fight, so if he can do that to a scrappy guy like Ige, I don't see why he couldn't put Keita on his back too. Now, yeah, Keita is younger, faster, hitting his prime years, while Pitbull is clearly out of it. And that matters, especially at featherweight, because at 145, the first thing to go when you get older is your speed. You can have power, you can have timing, you can have experience, but if you don't have the speed, you're gonna be a step behind. And that's why a lot of people are leaning towards Keita. The athleticism, the hunger, the prime years, all that. But for me, I can't ignore the fact that Pitbull is the one who's already proven himself in the UFC. He's already beaten a legit guy in Ige, and yeah, people will clown Ige for having double-digit losses, but let's be real. He's only losing the killers. He gave Lopez a fight. He almost knocked out Lerone Murphy in that first round. Those aren't scrubs, so Pitbull beating him does mean something. It shows me that he could still hang around the top 15. So when I look at this matchup, I don't want to get caught in the hype. I just don't want to crown Keita because he got this flashy record outside the UFC. In my opinion, he's as the same as these Bellator and PFL guys. He still needs to prove that he's good. Until he's proved that he can beat someone at this level, I'm rolling with the guy who already has a win in the UFC. My pick is Pitbull by decision. It might not be pretty. Honestly, I don't know why. I think it's going to be a boring-ass fight. It's not going to be a war. But I think he slows the fight down. I think he's going to mix in the grappling, try to wrestle brother, and use his experience to edge it out. And honestly, if you're not picking Pitbull here, I feel like you're just being biased. At least he showed us that he belongs in the top 15. Keita, on the other hand, he still has to show us. And to be honest, man, I know I've been joking around about these guys, but at the end of the day, I actually do hope both of them win. I'm not rooting for anyone to fail. I just have my doubts, and really, when I have my doubts, I'm mainly talking about Patchy Mix, because let's be real. This dude came in with all this hype, people saying that he was the pound for pound level outside of the UFC, and then look, in his last performance, he looked like garbage in his debut. That's just the truth. Now, if he comes in out in this fight, locks in, focus, and he actually looks good, like we were told about, cool. I'm still gonna say he's ass, but he beat somebody. We gotta give him that. We can just say now that the image of the Bellator and the PFL guys are completely dead. Any fighter that comes from a different promotion, I'm always going to be skeptical now. Even if they're knocking out all these guys are not in the same level. And I know some hardcore fans are going to be biased about that, but they're dumb, bro. They're dumb. You always got those dumb people in their fan base, and there's some ignorant people like that. But I'm not that ignorant. I'm not going to believe in anything until they come here. Michael Chandler at least beat some ranked guys. Yes, he lost a majority of the top 10 or top 5, around that range. And MVP, man, he's doing good, man. So besides those two, you know, I'm always gonna be skeptical. But what do you guys think, though? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always, guys, I'll see you guys on my next one.